I just recently retired from the Philadelphia Police Department, 40 years with the department. The question I receive a lot, why did I want to become a police officer? Well, at the time growing up, I knew at some point my life was going towards a public safety career. I remember as a young boy chasing fire trucks. When I would see the police cars in our neighborhood, I'd want to know, what are they doing? What's this all about? So I knew that after I graduated high school, I decided at that point I wasn't going to go to college. I wanted to enter the public safety arena. So I had taken a test for the police department and the fire department. The police department called me first, and that's when my career started. One of the things I found out that there's a lot of ways that I was able to benefit the public, and I didn't realize when I was on the street as an officer how many times we come in contact with the public, and it really wasn't for a crime-related matter. It was just people, they looked at the officer, looked at the uniform, and felt that we can go to this individual and get some sort of help. Probably the most rewarding part of my career, which I think was the saddest part, is that when 9/11 occurred, I was assigned to a command post in the city. When I was up there, I guess it was my second or third day, what they needed the most was kind of morale, a booster morale. They realized they had a gauntlet facing them, and the biggest concern was how many of the victims they were hoping to recover, still alive. We realized as time went on, that became, non-existent for them. And just talking to them, sitting down over a cup of coffee during a break, we saw that it was a big morale booster. At times, they needed that outlet to talk to other people. Even though we didn't experience what they did, we wanted them to know that we were there for them in any capacity. When I retired as a police officer, I realized that you just can't retire. This has been in my blood for my whole life. And I always felt that, if you can do something for people, just do it.
I'd like to welcome everybody here for honoring our second alarmers.
But I knew that I wanted to somehow be involved in some way in the fire department. Not as a firefighter, but I looked at the volunteer side, and what could I do? I realized there was an organization called the Philadelphia Second Alarmers.
Now I'd like to introduce Chief Masi, the leader of the Second Alarmers.
They've been around for over 100 years, and their primary mission is to serve police officers and firefighters and any other city employee that are involved at large-scale public events. Could be emergency, could be non-emergency.
Greg has served 40 years as a member of the Philadelphia Police Department. He has served 24 years as a member of the Second Alarmers, 20 of those years as chief. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Greg Masi.
I got involved in the Second Alarmers not realizing I just wanted to be a gopher. I'll go for this and go, I want to help you out. But at some point, they asked me to lead the organization.
Thank you. Please be seated.
I do recall one of the most important events and sad events that the Second Alarmers had to respond to was back in 2015 when Amtrak 188 derailed.
Passengers are dead after an Amtrak train derailed in Philadelphia.
Not knowing what to expect when I arrived, but when I saw in my eyes, I'll probably have for the rest of my life, that a number of rail cars were off the tracks, overturned. Didn't realize at the end of the night that the loss of life was going to be higher than we anticipated. We remained on that scene for approximately 3 days. And what I did find out, that when a tragedy occurs, the good comes out to people. So when I look back on those type of events, it was a very important part of my life. But there comes points in time where, you have to retire from that as well. And unfortunately, I did last December, but for good reasons. I had to take care now of my wife, which I think she's glad to have me home now on a more regular basis. When we look at life and after we're gone, pictures will live on for years, and they tell another story. And people will look at a photograph. There's a lot of photographs here of various events, but there's also a lot of photographs of heroes. As many of these heroes here on these walls, they meant something to not just the city, but their families. They gave it their all. I guess my photo tells me that I was destined to be in public safety. If I look back at my 40 years of what I've done, There was nothing I'd want to change. I just was there to help whenever I could, and I hope I made the difference. You know, when I look back now and I say, wow, for me, if my mother and father were here today, they're the ones that brought me up. And my father always drummed into me, son, do the right thing in life. Just do the right thing. And I hope I did do the right thing. And I'm extremely grateful to live my life the way I did as a public servant for the city of Philadelphia.